Hey everybody, hope you're having a wonderful day and this is going to be 5 tips to promoting yourself and your passion.
Tip number one, put yourself out there.
So as they say, the first step is always the hardest, which is the same case in this guide right here. I mean, I know sometimes it can be frustrating and I know sometimes it can be scary, especially if it's your first time, like promoting yourself or putting yourself out there on social media, posting videos or making covers or whatever your passion is. It could be anything, but it can be really frustrating thinking about what people will say, how they will perceive you as a person, how they will perceive you as a artist or as a person of your craft. And I think that is the number one reason which holds back people from putting themselves out there, towards the public, towards social media, and overall showing the world their personality and showing the world who they are, who they truly are. Instead, they tend to hide themselves, and I can speak from experience because I used to hide myself from people, the stuff that I like from people, the stuff that I do. I used to keep it private, try to not show anyone because I didn't want to get any type of feedback on it or opinion on it because I was afraid it might be bad, and that is the number one thing that held me back the most. Uh, and that is the thing that you have to overcome if you're going to be like an artist, or just overall like a person in the world out there. And if you want to make an impact or have your mark in the world, you have to overcome that fear of being judged, having people say stuff about you, whether it be positive or negative, because it will happen. Eventually it will happen. Not everyone's gonna like you, and that's the harsh reality of life. But for the people who do not like you, there's always more people who might like your work and who will like your work. It's not just one-sided. There's two sides to everything. So if there's people that don't like it, there's gonna be people that love it. And you just gotta find out the balance. You just gotta find a way to balance both. Overall, both things teaches us something. Is that if people like it, then you're doing something good, and if people don't like it, then you have stuff to improve on. Take everything as constructive criticism, even though it might not be coming from the person. In that way, at least you can turn something negative into a positive by taking their harsh comments and using it to push you to improving your craft, improving your work, and making it better so that eventually, as a whole, you'll feel satisfied with your work, and that's all that matters. And eventually, when you put yourself out there, it doesn't take like a minute or like a day to overcome that fear. It takes, just like everyone says, it's a journey, not a sprint. Like it's a marathon, not a sprint. Sorry. Um, so it takes time, but work on it day by day, and I'm pretty sure that eventually, in due time, you will be able to show yourself out there to the world. Your passion, your works, and people will start to know your name. People will start to know your works, and people will start to love it. I'm telling you, because if you love it, then they'll love it.
Tip number two, find out new ways to stick out from others, or in other words, find that unique flair of yours.
So, tip number two is all about finding that unique flair of yours, which makes you stand out from other people who are pursuing the same passion or career that you are doing. Finding that unique aspect or unique trait that you have as an individual or as a person of your craft. Knowing what skill sets and assets that you can provide to make your craft even better. And in the end, this all comes down to you truly knowing yourself and what capabilities you have, what traits you have, and what assets you can bring or contribute to a certain business, certain career, or to even your craft. And once you finally found that unique flair, that unique trait, and unique aspect that you possess as a person and as an individual, you can finally work on strengthening that to improve your craft or career.
Tip number three, celebrate little achievements.
So, tip number three is basically a tool to help you boost your self confidence when you're trying to promote yourself out there in the modern world or even on social media. It revolves around celebrating little victories and little achievements that you gain from promoting your passion, career, or whatever it is that you're interested in. It is important to recognize the little achievements that you gain in life, especially when it comes to careers or passions or even just overall life itself. So, to conclude tip number three, appreciate the small things and the little victories, little achievements that you get. For example, if you get like 10 subscribers on your YouTube channel or 10 views on your YouTube channel, that's something to, be proud of, because that's 10 random people around the world who watch your video and click on it. Or if you're an artist or a writer or a chef or a businessman, 10 people is actually a lot when you're starting out. And to know that 10 people around the world are interested in your business, your cooking, your artists, your masterpieces, that's something to be proud of. And that's something to pat yourself on the back for, because you've done a great job, that means.
Tip number 4, do not be discouraged.
So tip number three somewhat correlates with tip number four, for it deals with the aspect of looking at a brighter side instead of, discouraging yourself and diminishing yourself because you got like low rates or low status or even low views. Do not be discouraged by little achievements. There's something to be proud of in that, just as I discussed in the previous tip. And you can use tip number three to get over this feeling of discouragement, because you know yourself that you worked hard for it and you know yourself that you're passionate about it. So why be discouraged? I mean, everyone starts off small, everyone starts off little. And I'm pretty sure that, if you keep on having this positive attitude and thinking practically as well, you can start to, develop things and aspects or techniques to improve, the viewership or the appeal towards people, towards broader audiences. So therefore, don't be discouraged by little achievements and by little achievements, yeah, such as victories and viewerships or anything like that. You start off small, make your way up to the top. That's how it goes. So yeah, once again, tip number four: don't be discouraged, and just take your time. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Tip number 5, be consistent.
So when we tend to be so enthusiastic and so passionate about something, we tend to be very consistent and very punctual with our work, with the things that we post, the things that we cook, the dishes that we make, the masterpieces that we create. We tend to be very consistent with it. We make it day in and day out, every single day, 24/7. Not letting a single breath of rest, I guess you could say that, until we post something per day, or we make something a day that relates to our passion, our interest, and our the thing that we're so enthusiastic about. But at a certain point in time, we tend to slow down on our posts, on the stuff we do, on the things we love to do, or the passions that we want to pursue. We tend to slow down on them. We stop posting for a while, we stop making new masterpieces, new creations, and we just lay low. And then all of a sudden, we start doing it once a week, maybe 2 times in 3 weeks or something. So the consistency tends to dials down, and it starts to fade away very fast. And before we know it, we just stop doing it altogether. So that's the number one problem, and that's the number one thing I want to address in this step number 5 is continue being consistent, or be consistent from the get-go. I know it's tiring, I know it's frustrating to not see results and just keep posting and posting. It feels like your hard work isn't paying off at all. It isn't being paid off because you keep posting and you keep getting low views, low rates, low rate of people seeing it, and you just get tired, you get discouraged. But at the same time, I'm telling you, please be consistent. I mean, overall, if you love the thing that you're doing, you wouldn't mind the low rates, the low viewership, because you love what you're doing. And that's something you need to keep in mind. Don't forget why you started pursuing your passion in the first place. Because if you lose that reason, if you lose that purpose, you will lose consistency. You will lose consistency. You will lose encouragement. You will lose confidence overall in yourself and in the passion that you're pursuing. So please, I'm begging you, remember the purpose of why you started pursuing your passion. Be consistent, and everything will work out in due time. So now let's do just a quick recap of all the tips that we've gone through so far. So tip number 1 is, once again, put yourself out there. Tip number 2 is find out unique ways to stick out from others, or in other words, find that unique flair of yours. Tip number 3 is celebrate little achievements. Tip number 4, do not be discouraged. And tip number 5 is be consistent. That'll be all for this guide of promoting yourself and your passion. Thank you for watching.